62% off at webroot.com/Kim. 22 years ago this month, the sci-fi film I, Robot was showing in theaters across America. Millions of humanoid robots, many working in private homes, receive a signal to rebel and hold the human race hostage. But that was fiction. So what's our government concerned about? Well, the FCC believes that foreign-made humanoid robots are a national security threat. And when I say foreign-made, it's China. The worry is that in the event of hostilities between us and China, with a flick of a switch, Chinese-made robots could become a severe problem. So, yes, our government is correct. And besides, we're manufacturing our own robots right now. Join a million folks and get my free newsletter at getkim.com. I've tried a lot of antivirus software over the years, and when something better comes along, I switch. That's why I've moved to WebRoot Essentials. WebRoot Essentials is a cloud-based AI-powered antivirus app that was designed to evolve with today's threats. It's fast, lightweight protection that works across all my devices without slowing me down. If you need another reason to switch, get this. WebRoot Essentials recently ranked #1 in independent Passmark performance studies against 9 other brands, like Norton, McAfee, and even Microsoft Defender. The study found that WebRoot Essentials scans 6 times faster, uses far less memory, and takes up 33% less space on your computer. I've seen the difference WebRoot has made for my devices, and now you can too. My listeners get 62% off WebRoot Essentials at webroot.com/Kim. Get the #1 ranked antivirus protection for just $19 a year right now at webroot.com/Kim. Webroot.com/Kim. Go now while you're thinking about it. Webroot.com/Kim.
Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show, is now everywhere you are. Talkback is now streaming live on X at Sedla Update, plus Facebook and YouTube at KSYL. It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
All right, happy Thursday morning, everybody. Stephen Maxwell here, along with Nathan Martin, here on Talkback, July 30th, 7:15. Can't believe that we are almost done with the month of July.
It's almost over, bro. That's stunning.
It's crazy.
July really has flown by. This summer has flown by. I mean, school's starting back next week. That's crazy. Of course, we'll have all the typical watch for school buses and watch for kids and all that stuff stories that roll around this time of the year. But, man, this particular summer sure feels like it zoomed right on by.
It's going by fast. It was a nice morning yesterday. It turned out pretty hot. Another hot morning today. So if you haven't gone outside yet, good luck. It's a little muggy out there. So we got a jam-packed show today, Nathan. What do we got?
Man, we're going to be talking about local stuff. We're going to be talking about Dr. Fauci. How many times did he plead the fifth? That's over 100 times that he pleaded the fifth. Even when asked what color was the carpet in front of him, he pleaded the fifth. And so we'll chat about that. Welcome your phone calls on the BOM Bank Talkline, 318-442-8255. Have some local breaking news that you broke yesterday. The town of Ball, Mayor Gil Wilkin released a letter from the Louisiana State Police, essentially, I would use the word exonerating, or clearing, saying that there was no material evidence found to validate any of the claims against her. So I know she's feeling a sense of relief. So, that's kind of some big news. Had the big AI talk the other night, Tuesday night. Y'all talked about it a little bit yesterday, but some really good ripples coming out of that. That's the Gwen conversations over at LCU. And got a couple of comments from that to share. So quite a bit of busy happenings around the area. And I think the England Air Park discussion over regulations for protests will continue to catch some news. It's interesting how much the national media is beginning to take a look at that. ACLU nationwide has picked it up. And so the question becomes, does a economic development entity have the right to put rules and regulations over activities on the non-public access areas? And apparently the Rapid Parish Sheriff's Office may have asked for some guidance and because what I read was that the existing rules only covered parades, and they were trying to use the parade rules to apply to demonstrations, and that just doesn't work. So also Federal Reserve decided to or made a decision on the interest rates. We can talk about that. Campaign season is here. A week from yesterday, people began registering or qualifying to become a candidate. Did you get your voter registration ID cards in the mail?
I did.
Yeah, so got those at the house. Curious if people got those. I'm not a big fan of the new Secretary of State's website, only because I was so used to it before. I knew how to find what I needed, but they've prettied up. The front end still works pretty much the same as it used to. So,
yeah, we got qualifying for the November 3rd election coming up, August 5th, 6th, and 7th, I believe, if I'm correct. So
Wednesday,
3 days.
Thursday, Friday.
We will follow that and with bated breath. We can start off with the ball situation.
Yeah,
we'll knock that one out. Knock it out. Kick the ball down the road. So on the Town of Ball Facebook page, it says, here's a statement from Mayor Gail Wilking. She says, today I'm thankful to finally bring closure to a matter that has weighed heavily on many people for months. After extensive investigation by state police that included numerous interviews and the review of volumes of documents, LSP determined that they found no material evidence indicating any violations of Louisiana criminal law involving me, the Mardi Gras Committee, pageant, or the Moon Pie Festival Committee Incorporated. She goes on to say, through the process, we cooperated with investigators, providing accurate records, requested documentation, truthful testimony. We had nothing to hide because we have always believed that honesty, transparency, and accountability are the cornerstones of public service. While the investigation was difficult and at times personally painful, I never lost faith that the truth would prevail. I've always considered it one of my greatest privileges to serve. I want to sincerely thank all my family, staff, friends. She goes, glory be to God. The truth has prevailed. Justice run its course, and the chapter has come to a close. And she goes, let's put this behind us and serve the people of Ball and move our community forward together. Now, this is all stemming from an investigation over what, Nathan, was it some sort of misuse of funds when it comes to one of the committees?
I never read the allegation. Supposedly a multi-page allegation or charges were brought to the LSP, and I think that the gist of it is an accusation that the Moon Pie Festival created a separate, or was created as a nonprofit not owned by the city, and that the city promoted the Moon Pie Festival but did not get the money from the Moon Pie Festival. I think that's kind of at the heart of it. And I spoke with Mayor Wilking. I saw her Tuesday night at the Gabe Ferment fundraiser, and she told me that evening that she had just gotten the letter, I think that same day. And just the relief on her face was palpable. I asked her if she would like to come on and talk about it. She said, not right now. She said she wants to let things calm down just a little bit, but that she would be happy to discuss it at some point. But that's what I think is at the heart of it, was that the nonprofit entity retained the funds, and that city funds were spent on this festival. I will say it's not an uncommon process in the state of Louisiana for festivals to be run by nonprofits. Here's a great example for you. The Alexander Mardi Gras Association creates, the Mardi Gras parades, the children's parades, the college and cheerleaders parades. And they do a phenomenal job of creating this atmosphere, and the city promotes it pretty heavily and provides support and the barricades and the police and all of that stuff. And so to me, it felt like, well, this is kind of a standard practice. Some municipalities run it themselves. Others create these nonprofits in order to, the downside, and I think the reason that you do that is because everything you do as an entity, as a public entity, you have to go through bid processes. It's a very tedious process of documentation, and that's a good process for public funds. But I can give you the perfect example. When we were raising money for the dairy barn, and we had a bid from a local contractor who was willing to do the work for one price, and it was a very low price, and he was basically chopping off all of his profit margins and even donating some things. Well, then we were prepared to give the bid or just award the contract to him, and the state land office said, nope, you got to go through the public bid process. And because of that, the price went from $250,000 to over $400,000. And so there's a reason that you create these nonprofits, especially when you're dealing with things that are like a festival, like a feel-good event, a family event, a quality of life event, just for streamlining, for getting things to work easier. And so, but apparently there were some who felt like maybe that wasn't the proper way to do it. So apparently the state police has said they found, what did they say, no material evidence of any violation?
To get the exact wording here. Here's the letter from state police to Chief of Police Marshall Dean and Ball. It's in reference to complaint from Shannon McManus, and that's where it started. He does podcasts and different things on his page, and he filed this complaint and ran numerous interviews about it. It goes, Chief Dean, in March 2026, your agency forwarded the Louisiana State Police a complaint from Shannon McManus after conducting multiple interviews and reviewing volumes of documents. LSP detectives have not found any material evidence to indicate any violations of Louisiana criminal law regarding Mayor Gail Wilking, the Mardi Gras Committee Pageant, and the Moon Pie Festival Committee Incorporated. And then it gives the case number. Signed, Allison McCampbell Blair, Criminal Investigations Division.
Yeah, so that was the letter that seems to put things to rest. We'll see if that continues to be an issue. Then the campaign that kicks off Wednesday.
All right, to the BOM Bank Talkline, 318-442-8255. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Good morning, Stephen. Good morning, Nathan.
Morning.
Morning.
I think we're at the point now where we need to start getting our information from somebody credible like Stephen and not paying attention to some politically motivated podcaster who, in the grand scheme of things, has not accomplished one thing in all of his attacks on Philip and Mark and Joe and every politician. At the end of the day, he's accomplished nothing. Nothing. And maybe we should start paying more attention to people like Stephen than we should people like that. That's just my 2 cents. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate
the call. 318-442-8255. And, you know, I'm not going to comment specifically on all his stuff because I don't really have time to watch it all or see it, to be quite frank. And there's nothing against him or anybody. But there's going to be a lot of people who, you know, do news, do different, what they would call journalistic type things. And there's just a standard a lot of us have known and follow. And I'm not saying that people can't break stories or do important things without a journalism degree. Don't get me wrong. I think those are a little inflated too. But when you work in the business, you just kind of, you see some of these things coming. I wouldn't go off of hunches or rumors or vague assertions from people and run with it as something I should publish. So there is a different standard there, but you know, that's entertainment for a lot of people.
Well, there is a hunger within a lot of us that it likes salaciousness, or we like, you know, inside information, and people who say they have that, they do attract followings, and you know, there's a lot more of that. The internet has made everybody a journalist. You know, everybody who has access to Facebook or YouTube or any of the, I don't think of YouTube so much as the breaking news platform, but Facebook and Twitter, a lot of people are using those platforms. And so it is somewhat easy to develop a following. But when you start to, I appreciate how you said you don't have to have a journalism degree to share good information or break news or whatnot. But I do appreciate the way that you have gone about reporting news. And I know there are times you have felt like something was being given to you and it's either one-sided or you didn't have the full story and it wasn't necessary time for you to share on that. So people trust you, and I'm glad to Glad to know that. Appreciate the caller reminding us of the trust in Stephen, because we trust him around here. That's why he's running the board this morning.
Well, I don't want to. I'm not trying to this is something that you over experience. I've made my mistakes too in the past, and you learn okay, I'm going to wait on this. I'm going to see how this plays out, or I'm going to try and get more information. For example, just to be honest, we had that England Authority meeting where things got heated over that permit for protest, and we'll talk about that later. And I just didn't get sound, was unable to get anything from the England Authority at that time. I had a reporter there, just the timing didn't work out, so I only had one side of the story. And I got beat that day. I mean, all other news organizations posted it before me, and I didn't have the side that I wanted to before I posted it, so I waited 3 days till Monday to when Ralph could come on and posted it that way. So you gotta play it careful. Sometimes you'll get beat because you hold off on things, but it makes me sleep better at night. Or I think for the long haul, that's a better way to go about things. So, yeah.
Well, appreciate that. I know. Look, this is not going to die down in ball. Ball is
just wait till next week.
Entering their election season, and there are 10 already announced candidates for the various seats, and maybe some more coming up soon. 10 or 12 announced. Only 2 announced for mayor that I know of. Mayor Wilkin, of course, running for re-election, and Alderman Mark Mercer has announced that he's running for mayor. That's the only 2 that I'm aware of, but the alderman seats are all 5 running at the same time. And a couple of the seats, last time I checked, only had 1 announced candidate. But we'll find out next Friday at 4:30 p.m. when the qualifying period ends. Then we'll know really who is running. And in ball, again, they run citywide, but they have to declare which seat they're running for. And we haven't talked a whole lot about it, but the Carroll Ward incident, was it last week in ball, has created, I think there's 2 or 3 announced candidates for that seat. And so that may be the busiest seat. I think that's seat A. I want to try to confirm that here in just a second. So, but that, it's going to continue. And then we have, the DAs running for re-election. The city marshals are running for re-election. The constables, the justices of the peace, the judges are all running for for those offices. So, a lot going on.
Well, coming up after the break, we'll talk more DA here in just a second. That's coming up on Talkback. Give us a call during the break, 318-442-8255. We'll get you on the other side of it.
I'm tired of being what you want me to be.
KSYL.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Hims & Hers Health is facing a legal challenge, and investors are taking notice. The Federal Trade Commission, the state of Utah, and Los Angeles County is suing the telehealth company for allegedly misleading consumers about its products, making cancellations difficult, and sharing sensitive health information with Meta and Snapchat. Hims is denying the claims. Shares plunged close to 15% yesterday. Wall Street hit the brakes on Wednesday. Stocks tumbled after the Federal Reserve held rates steady. However, investors are worried that the central bank is not moving fast enough to tame inflation. This morning, stock futures are looking at gains. And Netflix is said to be dishing out $200 million for broadcast rights to next year's FIFA Women's World Cup. The streaming service already announced that it had acquired the rights to show matches in the U.S. and Canada for the next 2 tournaments. But the financial details have not been reported until now. No comment so far from Netflix. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Good morning. Starting out with partly cloudy skies today, but we'll see things getting cloudier as the day goes on. We've got the possibility of an afternoon shower, thunderstorm, about a 20 to 30% chance of that. Heat advisory again in effect today with afternoon high temperatures near 95 degrees. And that heat index near 110 this afternoon. Looks like more of the same in store for us on Friday. From the Sedlaw Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talkline at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
It's Talkback, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL.
Welcome back to Talkback, 732 here on July 30th, your Thursday morning. Let's go to the BOM Bank Talkline, 318-442-8255. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Good morning.
Morning.
I just had a call about the ball incident. Since I live in Ball, I am so proud that Mayor Gail got cleared because she has been morale. She had the floor thing. She's taken a beat from quite a few involved. And I think if politicians would get out there and just talk about their accomplishments, what they can do for Ball, instead of tear down somebody just so they could get in, it would cause us to vote for them faster than them tearing down someone who has already accomplished a lot for our team. And that's just my say on that. Thanks. Have a good day.
Well, thank you for calling. I will say that you hear the word toxic a lot about different things, toxic relationship or a toxic person or toxic environment. But politics with the advent of social media has become very toxic, and it's hard to ignore it. You just about have to, but it's hard to ignore it. I had a conversation earlier this week. I won't name who they were, but two currently elected officials. One of them literally said to me, "You got out at the right time." That was his almost word for word comment. And just talking about the beating that is taking place and how people are empowered. Used to be, you wouldn't attach your name to it, or you'd create a fake profile, but there's been so much of it that now people are putting their names on it, and it's creating animosity. I saw either yesterday or day before, the mayor of Central down near Baton Rouge, Wade Evans, who's been the mayor for 2 terms, he'd announced in February he was running for re-election. This week, he said, after a lot of prayer and thoughtful consideration, consulting with my family, I can't do it anymore. The social media stuff is just overwhelming, and so it does create it. I know most of the elected officials around here. I would say that most of them have genuine hearts and want to serve. There are some, of course, there are always some that are maybe have a nefarious motivation or whatever. But the vast, vast, vast majority of them are people who are motivated by, they want to make the place they grew up better for their kids and grandkids, or, they truly care for their community. And when everyone gets attacked with the same shotgun blast, the ones who have that good heart end up saying, I'm just, why bother?
Well, I think it's interesting you bring that up. Here's some sound from, and I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
From District Attorney Philip Terrell at the NARBIA meeting on Monday. That's North Rapids Business and Industry Alliance. He brought up that he is running for re-election in November, but he also talked about the state of politics. Listen. Oh, my goodness. See, I was trying to be all smooth with the buttons.
You were close.
Dang it. Facebook had to press 2 things. Okay, here he is.
Also to all the elected officials, it's election season. Mike forgot the candidate that I'm most interested in for office right now is me. I think all the judges, city judges, the district judges, the city marshals, and several other offices qualify for election next week. So keep us all in your prayers. And I will say one of the things that all the elected officials here, I was going to talk about everybody with my COVID has been sending texts that I've got a minute and a half left. Politics is a real rough business, and social media is rougher every day. And so those of you who are doing this in your families, to paraphrase Teddy Roosevelt, he said, the honor goes not to the critic, but to the man that's dead. So y'all keep doing what you're doing because the people appreciate you, and there's always going to be something to criticize us for. The only way not to make a mistake is stay in the bed and don't go do anything.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a tough business. What I've done is on the news media, and nothing compared to what y'all have gone through. I just kind of ignore the comments. I don't even look at them half the time.
Well, and
people are like, "Did you see what they said?" I was like, "Nope." And I did not.
I think Philip mentioned it another time, but the person I was talking to on Tuesday night said it's really harder on the families. The spouse, the children, those who love that candidate. The candidate may have and probably tries to have this. I'm not going to look at it. I'm not going to let it worry me. I'm going to keep my head down, do my job, and serve the people. But the family ends up getting really roiled, ROILED, by it. It gets stirred by it. Yeah. So it's troubling.
No, and we appreciate your 2 decades of service, and I'm glad you're getting a break. And, that is a lot of work and a lot of hoopla, and so we all appreciate it. And that means you have more time for us.
Yeah. I have been doing a little more fill-in work, huh?
That's right.
Coming back tomorrow, too. Who am I filling in, for you or for Al?
For me.
Okay.
So it'll be you, Al, and we might have a special guest. He's supposed to be scheduled to come in and co-host with y'all, so it'll be a fun day.
Come on, that'll be exciting.
And I'll let him reveal himself if he wants to.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go back to the phone lines here on the BOM Bank Talkline, 318-442-8255. Good morning.
Well, I can assure you it's not me because I wasn't invited.
Oh, Stephen needs your email address.
Send me an email. Stephen@SinlawBroadcasting.com.
I'm sure I can find it, but I can probably remember that long enough. The reason I called is I noticed that apparently T. Huey is going to start storing nuclear waste in Louisiana. And that brought up a thought. And my father graduated from LSU in 1939, and he became state geologist during the Second World War. And after the war ended, he went into private practice and did reasonably well. But his dissertation at LSU dealt with the geology of Wynn and Caldwell parishes. And in his dissertation, he referenced the fact that there were some types of geological structures that suggested that there might be potential for uranium ore in the area. And fast forward to the early 1960s, there was a gold rush, so to speak, looking for uranium deposits. And I can remember for about a month or so, the phone rang off the hook. People calling to inquire about the possibility of uranium in those regions. And turns out there wasn't any. But who knows? Maybe there will be some now.
Interesting. Well, hey, thank you for that thought. We got to take the break. We got to pay the bills. We'll be right back.
Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show, is now everywhere you are. Talkback is now streaming live on X at Sedla Update, plus Facebook and YouTube at KSYL.
I love days like these at the pool, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. I'm ready to make a splash with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza. Skyrizi is a prescription-only injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. At 4 months, most people saw 90% clearer skin when measured from head to toe, and many were even 100% plaque-free. People also saw significant improvement in psoriasis symptoms of pain, redness, itching, and burning.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Now there's nothing on my skin, thanks to Skyrizi, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Hello, I'm Sarah Kramer of Kramer Funeral Home. Funerals don't just signify that a life has ended. They celebrate that a life was lived and loved. At Kramer Funeral Home, we understand the importance of celebrating a life well lived. And since no two people are alike, no two funerals should be alike. We will assist you step by step in creating a meaningful service that honors your loved one's unique life. Let us, the staff at Kramer Funeral Home, be your personal guide.
It's Talkback, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
Welcome back to Talkback here on your Thursday morning. It's 7:42 in the morning, July 30th. Happy Thursday, everybody. We've been talking a lot about ball and what else? Politics, the state of politics here in Central Louisiana.
Yeah.
Like we talked about, August 5th, 6th, and 7th, next week, is qualifying for the November election. Lots of stuff. Alexandria mayor, one of the at-large seats, some council seats, city marshal, Rapides Parish District Attorney, judges, all sorts of stuff. Ball mayor, of course, and aldermen.
Just about every mayor in Rapides Parish except for Pineville, because Pineville was decided back in the spring. But every municipality, I think, except for Pineville, will have mayoral and alderperson/councilperson elections. Well, Alexandria doesn't. They're on a different cycle, but they'll have some. Don't they have some alderperson or some council member?
They do. One of the at-large seats.
Right. And
they have two of those. Mm-hmm. And some council seats as well. So we will be there to cover who qualifies. We'll try and get all the interviews for y'all once they qualify on that.
So that's there's an interesting debate on the strategy of qualifying. And this is minuscule. It doesn't make a hill of beans, but some candidates have the philosophy, I'm going to be there at 8:00 when the doors open to show my intent, my desire, my fervency, right? And to eliminate all questions. And typically those who are running for re-election will do it, maybe not at 8:00, but first day. And then the second day sometimes brings somebody that I thought they were going to qualify. Oh, they waited till the second day. Maybe they wanted a little bit more of the news cycle because the first day had 20 billion qualifying, the second day only 5 billion. Okay, horrible numbers. But then the third day brings on that shock and surprise. I guarantee you that there are many candidates and friends of candidates Friday afternoon, or starting around 3:00, they're hitting that refresh button on the Secretary of State's website to see who's qualified. And when that 4:30 clock rolls around and it's refreshed and there's nobody else, then there's some rejoicing going on. But the whole strategy of when to qualify is really just an interesting look and peek into the world of politics.
It'll be a surprise. Surprise, Blinker.
Did y'all ever stand there and cover and do video of people signing in?
Yep. I've done several years where I just sat in there.
Yeah.
I've reached out to some who will talk to me and say, hey, what time are you going? I'd like to catch you if you go. And it's very vague still at this point, so maybe I'll try and catch some of them. But one of the big races, of course, is Alexandria mayor.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen some Jacques Roy signs out, so he should be running for re-election. He's had some fundraisers, too. I just haven't seen, an official announcement yet. Have you?
No, I haven't.
No, okay.
I think he's been too busy doing things with Reignite and leading the city. Hey, that story you did, that little sneak peek at the project on Masonic Drive, that looks phenomenal.
Looks good, huh?
Yes, it does.
I love the permanent cornhole out there. That nice.
Was cool. I didn't get a chance to see. I mean, can you lift the boxes to get the bean sacks out? Or
I don't know. They didn't let me. I didn't go in there.
Okay.
So
I noticed your filming was through the chain link fence.
I had my kid with me, so I kind of had to hurry, and she's out of daycare this week, so we're juggling around this week.
Oh wow!
So, but she's our little news reporter. She wasn't happy. She just wanted goldfish. So we got that, and Malcolm Larverdane, city councilman, says he's going to be running for mayor as well. Had the announcement a couple of weeks ago. So, and then we have, is it Greg Lorenzo, a businessman here who's running as well.
Right.
And so that's the three I've heard of. I don't know if you've heard of any other ones.
I have not. That's the only three I'm even remotely aware of.
And we heard names throughout the past couple months. Would Mayor Jeff Hall former Mayor Jeff Hall run again, or would this or that happen? So I guess we'll find out. Right now, it looks like it's going to be it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting.
Y'all talked yesterday about the new I voted sticker that folks will get this fall with the trumpet with the magnolias coming out. And I don't want to rehash the whole conversation, but anything to get people to vote is a good thing. I think one of the reasons our voting numbers are so small is because there are so many pushes out there to get people to register who really have no desire. And the only reason they register to vote is because there's a person in front of them with a clipboard. Basically, the only way I can get away from this person is to sign my name. So they sign up to vote. They never have any intention to vote. So then you don't have, then your numbers, have 10% turnouts and very low turnouts because, I don't know what the highest, I've seen 50% in local races. I don't know that I've ever seen 60, 70% turnouts.
Well, I think it's just, and I think Al kind of hit it inadvertently yesterday. It's just one, we're just so apathetic and disenfranchised, we feel like. And he even said, we were talking about AI or something. He goes, for once in my life, it feels like I'm just riding along to see what happens. The world's driving us.
Yeah.
And it's probably always been that way to a certain extent, but that's kind of the sentiment I think a lot of people have. And what I do is futile, and it's not going to make a difference. So when everyone starts to believe that, you start seeing 15% turnout voting and not getting engaged in your community. And so that could be a tough thing. And look, there's a lot of people, we've talked about the data center stuff nonstop. Some people are like, this is going to be great. Some people are annoyed that there's people protesting. But, even if I disagree with the protesters, let's say that's the case, not saying it is, but at least they're out there making what they feel like is a difference and making their voices heard. Most people just get ticked off and go through the drive-through at McDonald's, so it's good to see people actively engaged. At least we could look at the positive there.
Well, I think that's a great perspective on it. And I've had people ask me about the protesters and do I get upset about them? I don't. I think that's part of the political landscape. I think it's part of the founding fathers' intent to give these rights. I think there's a place even for there's a website a Facebook page I stumbled across the other day. I don't remember the exact name. It's either Louisiana Shade Tea Room or something like that.
The Shade Room.
The Shade Room, okay. I had never seen that before. And when I clicked over to it, it's nothing but nonstop salacious rumor, gossip, innuendo from all over the state.
Mm-hmm.
But even with that, there are places for people who tell stories that, maybe are on the edge and talk about things that need to be talked about. I get all that because accountability is huge, but then there's got to be the voices you can trust. My biggest fear right now, and this is coming out of COVID, is there is really zero trust in anybody. Who is going to trust the CDC the next time they tell us to mask up or get this shot? Who is going to trust, a Dr. Fauci, after he 111, I think, 110, 111 fifth pleadings. Senator Josh Hawley was on Morning Wire this morning saying that Fauci made over $1 million in cash gifts during his time doing that stuff, promoting his appearances and whatnot, that he enriched himself. And he was supposed to be the trusted voice. Right now, we can't look back and see him that way. But at the time, he was supposedly the most trusted voice. And then you have, even media itself comes under scrutiny. If there is a national crisis, who do you trust?
Well, when we saw the Hana virus thing kind of spark up a couple of months ago, I was like, there's no way. Like, if this is an actually deadly spreading virus, none of us are going to listen. There's no way, So those days, I think, are gone. But we shall see. For Fauci, he made the right choice. Don't say nothing. If you're not being criminally charged, don't say. I ain't got to say nothing to you. I'm not saying I agree with everything he's done, but obviously the smart move on his part, I feel like. And they should have they knew that was going to happen, right?
Well, I'm sure they did.
All right. BOM Bank Talkline, 318-442-8255. We'll be right back.
Taking part in the show is easy. Call the BOM Bank Talkline at 442-8255.
The Louisiana heat is here. Is your home ready? Whether it's keeping your air conditioner running strong, fixing unexpected plumbing problems, or installing a whole home generator before the next storm rolls in, Southern Air has you covered. With trusted technicians, upfront pricing, and service that you can count on, we're here to keep your family comfortable all summer long. Don't sweat it. Call Southern Air Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing today or schedule online at southernairalexandria.com.
In Central Louisiana, when you're talking great food, you're talking Southern Creations Country Lunch Buffet. At the base of the Jackson Street Bridge in Pineville, this Best of the Best award-winning lunch buffet is remarkable, featuring their signature fried chicken every day, an awesome variety of menu choices, and homemade desserts, including the now famous white chocolate bread pudding. No one does lunch better. Come have lunch with a friend or a group at Southern Creations. Daily menus posted on Facebook.
When life gets tough, 988 can provide help and hope. Reach out to Louisiana's free helpline anytime you need emergency emotional support. Whether you had a tough day, have thoughts of suicide, or just need someone to talk to, 988 specialists will listen and help you work through whatever you're dealing with. Call or text 988 or chat online at louisiana988.org. It's free, confidential, and here for you 24/7.
Now back to Talkback, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
To the BOM Bank Talkline, 318-442-8255 here on your Thursday Talkback. Good morning. You are on the air.
You hit the wrong button.
Why'd you change lines on me? Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for taking my call. I don't know who got hung up on, but maybe they'll call back.
No, I pressed the wrong button.
Oh, okay. On the voting thing, y'all usually start with talk about sports, and it's always entertaining, but it amazes me how focused we are on sports, and it's because
that's Al, not us.
I know, but it's a small microcosm of life, and I've been seeing that the Saints quarterback, you have sound bites of him all the time on the news and on our airwaves, and it's because people gravitate to leaders. And when the left began the takeover of the American education system in the 1930s, 1920s, I think is what I read, they wanted to weed that out, and they've been successful at it. I remember Patrick Henry and his speech. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. Mm-hmm. That's a bold thing to say, but he was motivated. The few that were motivated to take a stand encouraged all the others. And so when you take the civics out of school, and I can remember my dad, even when I was in school, in high school in the 80s, thinking that we needed more courses, that they kept cutting back the schedule, how many credits we needed. And he was suspicious of that. For his master's degree in education, he wrote a paper about how federal money was going to bring federal control, and it would be stuff that would not benefit the state. And it's all come to pass. He's gone now, but it's all come to pass. And so when we see people not voting, there's not a lot of impetus. We get the sticker, and we have shows like this where, your audience is very motivated about it. But in our school, when the kids are being raised, that's where they are being taught not just how to think, but what to think. And they're not being taught to think the right thing. And, until COVID, we didn't really understand what was going on in our public school system. COVID gave us all a big wake-up call. People were shocked for a few years there. There were people getting thrown out of school board meetings and things going on like in our local libraries here in Rapides Parish. But, and that's kind of died down now. But the influence has not left the school system. So the kids are not being trained to revere people like Patrick. I don't know how many people would even know Patrick Henry now. And, I remember growing up, there was a show called Daniel Boone. You remember when Daniel Boone was on?
Yeah.
He came and did one of the parades in Lafayette, and I got to shake his hand. Daniel Boone was a man that went out. I mean, he was like an American superstar. Not Sergeant York, Alvin. Sergeant York, Alvin York. That show. He when he was contemplating whether or not to go fight because he was a conscientious objector. He thought that the scriptures commanded him not to kill instead of not to murder. His commanding officer gave him a book, and it had people like Daniel Boone in there, and who inspired him. So we're lacking inspiration. So when it's a low voter turnout, I'm not surprised. I don't see how it could be any other way, because we don't have our heroes, or our heroes are rap stars or somebody who is not living a life. And
well, that's what I said like a week or two ago. It's like the people we idolize are actors and musicians.
Yes.
Like that's just what our society is now, and you're kind of seeing the fruits of that. And they're most of them are bonkers, and so this is what our kids think is normal. And
remember, I was a member of a church a long time ago, and there was people that could sing really well, and people conflated having a gift to sing with deep spiritual walk. And so they got a lot of authority in the church, and then they end up falling morally horribly. And, you were dead on with that comment, Stephen, and we need more people to hear that and to think, who am I following and who's inspiring me? And let me be somebody's inspiration. Let me read a book and find out what our history is like, because that's what they had to do first. They had to kill our history first, because we have the greatest history of any other country. I have no degree in history, but I spent a life reading it because of a 7th grade school teacher that inspired me on American history. And so I moved to vote because of Ms. Zion. She's dead and gone. But but I'm moved to vote because she told us that it was our duty. It was their duty to fight the revolution, and it's our duty to go and vote every time we have a chance. So I do. You know, when I got to 18, I signed, I registered for the draft, and, you know, I was proud to do it. But anyway.
Well, I will
speak my piece.
Yeah, absolutely, Dave. I do believe that I said 50 to 60 is a huge turnout. We only see that in local elections. I think this listening audience is in the 90% range of voting.
Oh, I would, yeah.
Because these are people who truly engage with the issues, and somehow we've got to make that more acceptable, more desirable even. And people don't change until there's pain. That's the motivation for significant change. I hope that we don't have to go through irreversible pain to get people to change and get engaged.
Amen.
I wonder how many American parents are actually parenting their children now. Like, our families are being torn apart because of consumerism, and because that's the way we've been told through with the public education system. Like, hey, you have to put your kids in school. Everybody's got to work. Everyone's got to do this, and no one's raising their kids anymore.
Well, and I'm sorry to take too long, but the left has purposely discounted motherhood and discounted family life and created this image that's ball of chain, and and it restricts you, and it's not. I was at my daughter-in-law's house yesterday.
Music is playing, Dave.
Okay, and we play with the grandkids, and we just thought, the poor people who don't have this, how little do they have in life? Thanks. Y'all have a great day.
Thanks, sir. More coming up on Talkback. Exciting stuff. Second hour. Stick around.
You've been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenla Broadcasting. AM 970, FM 104.9, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3 HD3, Alexandria. It's 8 o'clock.
Iran targets American troops in Jordan again. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. But like the last time, the missiles launched were shot down. The U.S. retaliated last night for that first attack aimed at a U.S. base.
President Trump told Fox News yesterday that Iran was going to get a beating. U.S. Central Command said dozens of targets belonging to Iran's Revolutionary Guard were hit in an operation lasting over 2 hours. Military command centers, missile and drone facilities, and coastal surveillance and defense sites. This week has seen the conflict expand with the first publicly announced joint U.S.-Saudi strikes targeting Iranian proxies in Iraq.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. And as President Trump considers an even more intense round of bombing, Reuters reports China could get involved, providing Iran with hundreds of shoulder-fired air defense missiles that could target Americans, like the fighter jets shot down in Iran earlier this year. The president reacted saying this about China's leader.
That would be surprising. He told me very strongly he wouldn't partake. But he knows I'd be quite disappointed.
It is sentencing day in Georgia for a father 2 days after his school shooter's son got life in prison.
Colin Gray was found guilty of murder and manslaughter charges in March for buying his son Colt the AR-15 style rifle the 14-year-old ended up using to fatally shoot 4 people at Appalachia High School in 2024. Prosecutors say the father also left the gun unsecured in their house despite warnings that the teen was a danger to others.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. We just got updates to the economy showing an unexpected slowdown in GDP growth. 1.5% in the second quarter, down from 2.1 in the first 3 months of the year. We also got an inflation report, and like earlier ones, the PCE index shows a slight price decline in June.
Month over month, we saw a decline of 0.1%. Year over year, we gained 3.7%.
Fox Business Network Cheryl Casoni, that June decline was expected, but inflation may be back up this month as oil and gas got pricier the last few weeks with resumed U.S. and Iran fighting. America's listening to Fox News.
Well, it's official. My friends have all switched to Pure Talk because I told them they could save a bunch of money on a super reliable high-speed network with unlimited data. And because they're my friends, they trust me. As for the rest of you, well, Pure Talk understands that even though you might like me, you're not just going to take my word for it, nor should you. For that reason, and for a very limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited plan that normally sells for $65 a month. Think of it like a test drive, a super simple way to save $150 while you kick the tires on Pure Talk's blazing fast network, and a fine way to see for yourself why I switched from big wireless, along with a few 100,000 of my closest friends. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, meant be connected to Pure Talk's friendly U.S. customer service team. Again, dial pound 250. Say Mike Rowe and let the savings begin.
While the U.S. and Iran keep up the attacks, a new AP NORC poll shows a lot of Americans do not support what's happening.
Nearly 2/3 of U.S. adults surveyed say the war has not been worthwhile. That includes the vast majority of Democrats and independents, and about 37% of Republicans. The poll taken last week also shows many are worried about their bank accounts. 72% say it's extremely or very important for the U.S. to prevent domestic oil and gas prices from rising, while about 2/3 say it's at least very important to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. Fewer, just 4 in 10, say it's extremely or very important to prevent Iran from threatening Israel. CJ Papa, Fox News.
There's a new Fox News poll out on the Senate race in North Carolina. One of the seats Democrats hope to flip from red to blue in November.
Former North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper leads by 9 points, 53 to 44% over former RNC Chair Michael Whatley. Cooper is preferred by voters under 30, independents, and women, while Whatley resonates most with very conservative voters, white evangelicals, and people in rural areas.
Fox's Gernal Scott. They are chiefless in Seattle. Fox 13 TV reports the city's mayor, Katie Wilson's fired police chief Sean Barnes.
It follows Sunday's mass shooting at the Bite of Seattle Food Festival that left 3 dead, including a 19-year-old suspect and 4 others hurt. City officials have not publicly confirmed the change in police leadership. Barnes' scheduled media interviews on Wednesday afternoon were abruptly canceled, and he was later seen that evening at a candlelight vigil for the victims of the shooting. Following the shooting, the police department was criticized for its response, including a delay of several hours before a news conference was held, with the assistant chief finally providing an update that evening. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
On Wall Street, rising stock futures suggest a rebound, gaining back some of yesterday's big losses when the Dow plunged more than 1,100 points. I'm Dave Anthony, and this is Fox News.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm John Burns. Louisiana ranks second to none in year-over-year growth in one job sector right now. Here's Andrew Greenstein.
Relvin Owens, the CEO of Louisiana Associated General Contractors, says over the last 12 months, every major metropolitan area saw growth in the construction sector.
It's about a 22% increase, and that puts us as number 1 in the country, and then number 3 in the country as far as actual jobs.
Owens says data centers are fueling much of that construction, not only the massive Meta data center in Richland Parish, but also Amazon in Shreveport and Hut 8 near St. Francisville. Owens also noted projects in the industrial sector, including the Hyundai steel plant in Ascension Parish. I'm Andrew Greenstein.
Louisiana ranks the worst state in the nation for the second year in a row. That's according to the latest U.S. News and World Report. The annual report placed Louisiana 50th overall among all 50 states. Rounding out the bottom 3 states were Alaska at number 49 and Mississippi at 48. LRN. New research has found that the combination of CBD and THC significantly reduces agitation for people with dementia who are at the end of their lives. Dr. Jeff Keller of LSU's Pennington Biomedical Research Center is one of the principal investigators of the clinical trial.
The findings from our current study are sufficient and should lead to individuals talking to their doctors about the potential use of THC to manage agitation.
Keller says 9 of every 10 study participants showed overall improvement in target symptoms from the THC-CBD combination. The Saints kicked off training camp yesterday. Prairieville native and former LSU safety Justin Reed is entering his 2nd season in New Orleans. He says he remembers coming to Saints games as a kid when it felt like a parade inside the Superdome and hopes winning will bring that feeling back this season.
It didn't remind me of my childhood, and I wanted to look like what it looked like for me when I was a kid, so that kids today can have that memory and they want to keep pushing it forward.
LRN.
Listen to the all-new Central Louisiana Economic Update with Matt Ritchie every other Tuesday morning on KSYL Talk Radio 970 AM, 104.9 FM, and KSYL.com.
Teachers are diverse, skilled leaders, innovating to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Teaching shapes lives. Are you ready? Explore teaching at teach.org, supported by the U.S. Department of Education and 1 million teachers of color.
Well, good morning. Starting out with partly cloudy skies today, but we'll see things getting cloudier as the day goes on. Well, it's got the possibility of an afternoon shower or thunderstorm on a 20 to 30% chance of that. Heat advisory again in effect today with afternoon high temperatures near 95 degrees. And that heat index near 110 this afternoon. Looks like more of the same in store for us on Friday. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Grayson. It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
Welcome back to Talkback, second hour, 8:08 here on July 30th. Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm Stephen Maxwell along with Nathan Martin. We've been talking a lot about ball and politics in Central Louisiana, why actors are dumb, and so much more. What's the you have any interest, Nathan, in seeing the Odyssey?
I saw the Odyssey.
Oh, you did?
I went and saw it, yeah, when we were in Dallas. So the reason we went to Dallas, one of the reasons was to celebrate my son's birthday. His birthday is the same couple of days as my grandchildren in Mississippi. And so for the last several years, his birthday has been going to their birthday party, and he really hasn't had a lot of fun for himself. And so my wife and I decided there's a certain artist he really likes, and there was a concert in Dallas in July. So we bought tickets for him and a friend, and that was kind of the purpose. That was his birthday gift. We took
concert tickets?
Concert tickets.
Was like Nicki Minaj or something?
No, it was, I got to remember what the guy's name is. Daniel Caesar, I think is the guy's name.
I'm not sure.
He's kind of a crooner.
What's that?
Kind of like the old Dean Martin love songs. He's a modern crooner is what I would say. I listened to a lot of his music with my son, and it's actually enjoyable music. It's not at all what you think. I was stunned that my son liked him so much, but it's very emotive, very thought-provoking, a lot of love songs, but pure. There's not like cussing or craziness like that. So we bought tickets for the show, and the idea was to drop him and his buddy off at the American Airlines Center, and then Lori and I and our daughter were going to go to a movie nearby. And so we looked to see what was available, and the Odyssey was out. And it was perfect because it's 3.5 hours long, and the concert's 3.5 hours or whatever. So it worked out fine. I told Al, because when I covered for you that whatever day it was I came back, I loved it. I absolutely enjoyed it. There were some parts where the CGI was hokey, or the acting was not the acting, the graphics were over the top, but the story's over the top. You've got a cyclops. You've got these singing sirens. You've got this witch who turns people into animals. There's a lot of over the top stuff to the story. And I will acknowledge that the casting was a little odd. Not a single Greek actor in there for a Greek historic treasure. The Helen of Troy character caught me off guard.
Wasn't there like some hoopla over the transgender actor?
Yeah, and here's what's funny is I didn't know it was a transgender person until after I'd seen the movie. I thought it was just a young man, and it was supposedly a lady who is living as a guy. But the character was portrayed as kind of a weaker, not effeminate, but younger, youthful, pubescent teen. And so since I had no clue, and I found out later that the story itself, that person is not that way. So yeah, I see why they were injecting ideology into it, but I can reject that and still enjoy the movie. And I will tell you, it's 3.5 hours.
Well, hey, you still gave them money.
I did.
You affirmed it.
Was that what it is? Well, I didn't affirm it because I didn't know at the time. I don't know if I would have made that decision if I knew that.
I'm messing with you.
But I will tell you, the Helen of Troy character, they did a couple of things in there to her character that shocked me. I don't want to spoil it for you. Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay. And I'm not saying who the person was, but what they did. No, I will spoil it for you if I tell you. But when you see it, you're like, oh, that's what Nathan was talking about. But as far as the storyline goes, and kind of revealing the hearts of men, and showing introspection, but also showing heroism in the face of conflict, and the willingness to put others above self. And I mean, there was a lot of heroic elements in there, as you would expect from a 3,000 or 2,500 year old Greek Odyssey. It was a poem,
not a play, a poem. But so yeah, I enjoyed it. Why'd you bring it up? Are you going to go see it?
No, it's the only movie anyone's talking about. And why was it? We're talking about actors.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. And no, I kind of want to see it. I thought about going last night because just didn't have anything else to do after I put the kid down. But then I realized it was 3 hours long, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to get out of there at 1 o'clock in the morning and then come here.
So we went to a theater in Dallas. I've been there once before, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and it's called Cinepolis, Cinepolis. I guess that's how you say it, Cinepolis. I have no idea. But you have to go up these escalators to about the 4th or 5th floor of this big building in Dallas. You park in some parking garage, and then you go in and you reserve your seats. And every seat in there is the plush recliner, like the plushest recliner I've ever sat in, with the legs that come up, the feet that go back. They have a table that rotates in front of you, and you scan this QR code, you order food, and they bring it to you in your seat. You want popcorn, they bring you your popcorn. Now, there's a surcharge. It's pricey. But it was quite an experience of luxury. And you go to something like that, and you say, I understand now why people like living in big cities, because there's some fun amenities.
So the movie didn't knock your socks off?
I enjoyed it. All three of us, as we left, we all said that we enjoyed it more than we thought we would. So we didn't know exactly what to expect. I hadn't seen the hype building up to it. I was just looking. It was that, or it was Toy Story 5, which I'd already seen with my daughter, or there was Minions. But Minions was only an hour and a half long, and we had 3+ hours to kill because the concert started at 7:30, but we dropped them off at 6:30 so they could get in, and it was estimated to end around 10:30. So we're like, what are we going to do for 4.5 hours? And we watched the movie.
Jeez. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of good reviews about it, and I know I like a good fantasy type movie, but 3 hours you got to find the right time to do it.
There were times it felt long. It felt like they were just dragging the story. But since I know a little bit about it, now here's what's funny. I'm almost positive, and I want somebody to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive that "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" is based on that same Greek poem.
It is.
Okay.
Yep.
You want to talk about contrasting visions of "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," of the Odyssey. Of course, you've got the Cyclops in both, but the Cyclops in "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" is a guy with an eye patch on. So he's only got one eye. And you do have the singing sirens, and you do have he turned him into a frog. He's a frog.
I've seen trouble all my day.
Love that movie.
That's a
great movie. Yeah, it's the Odyssey.
My dad says it's a documentary of our family early days growing up in West Louisiana. So I have a favorite scene from that movie. It's the scene when the baptismal scene. And I quote it all the time at church in the sermon. Yeah. Is that Allison who sang that? Good old ways. So, but the guy, he jumps into the water and he gets baptized, and he comes up and he says, "Come on in, boys. The water's fine. Jesus done washed all my sins away. Yeah. He forgave me for that. Even that Piggly Wiggly I robbed in Yazoo." And the other guy goes, "I thought you said you didn't rob that Piggly Wiggly." And he said, "Well, I lied. And Jesus forgave me for that too." It's hilarious.
Go down, let's go down.
That was such a big movie like 20 years ago now, huh?
That's hard to believe it's that long ago.
Let's go
great movie.
The soundtrack is phenomenal. Soundtrack. As I went down to the river
to pray, studying about.
Let's just play this and we'll go away.
Speaking of actors and fantasy movies, Arnold Schwarzenegger turns 79 years old today. How about that? He played in a few fantasies, Conan the Barbarian and some other stuff like that. The Governor.
Can't believe he was a governor. Crazy stuff.
Anything is possible if California elects the Australian accented American citizen. Austrian. Thank you. I said wrong, obviously. Also, Terry Crews turns 58. He's the guy with I think didn't he do the Old Spice commercials? Was that him or Terry Crews?
Terry Crews.
I know was a bodybuilder at one time, but he's an actor. Let's see, a television host. Yeah, so just obviously a former football player at one time, but he's just got a fun personality. And so today's his birthday. Interesting. Let's see who else got a birthday today. Hillary Swank turns 52. Are you a Hillary Swank fan?
I'm not really quite sure. Who is that?
I don't know either. I think she's a singer. I think.
Huh.
I have to
very swanky.
Have to right click and search. Hold on. Hillary Swank, third youngest woman in history to win 2 Academy Awards for Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role. Yeah, obviously I was wrong. She's not a singer. She's an actress. Let's see what she's known for.
People are like, what the heck is wrong with these people?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, okay. Is she like the main one?
I don't know. She had I think she had a minor role in that.
Buffy?
Yeah. No, she wasn't Buffy. But she also played in Clint Eastwood's $1 Million Baby, which that was a great movie. Did you ever see that?
So long ago.
Yeah, but she played the lead in that. So, yeah, that's a birthday today. And another birthday today, Delta Burke. My wife just texted me. She's an actor. She played a boxer. I got to be careful everything I say because my wife is listening. But she's
they're always listening.
Yeah, I love when your wife calls in.
She ain't calling in today.
Is she doing clinicals?
She might be. I don't know if they're awake.
Oh, okay.
She was up all night studying.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Delta Burke played in Designing Women from 1986 to 1991, and she got Emmy nominations for Outstanding Lead Actress for that. She was in The Chisholms and a few other, so she's got a birthday today as well. And these aren't birthdays, but locally, I want to give a shout out to a couple of people who are retiring after really wonderful careers. One of those, both of them are actually retiring from Rapids Regional. I find it interesting. Chuck Butterfield is retiring after 36 years, I believe, there at Rapids Regional. Started out as a nursing assistant in the early days, went on to, when I came on the board, he was working as the Director of Safety and Security and Emergency Preparedness. And so that's how I knew him. But I also knew him as mayor of Pollock for a season. So Chuck Butterfield, happy retirement to you. No bicycles for Chuck. If you know Chuck, you'll know about that joke because Chuck loves riding bicycles, but bicycles don't love Chuck. And then also retiring today, but the celebration is today from Rapids Regional, Wayne Sibley, longtime chaplain there. I think he's been there 20 plus years. And Wayne is one of the kindest, gentlest souls you'll ever meet. A great chaplain. He's over, obviously, the chaplain services. I've worked with him in that role. He got me on the list. I'm not sure if I should thank him for this, but I'm on the list for when a family member calls or wants a chaplain and he's not available and they don't have a church home, I get the 2 a.m. call to please come. Either help the family say goodbye. They've been told that they only have a little bit of time left. And so Wayne has a couple of pastors, myself and a couple others that are in that rotation. But Wayne also handles the volunteers and because Rapids is partially owned by a nonprofit. It's 30% owned by Rapids Foundation, 30% and 70% by HCA. But because of that nonprofit ownership, they still have some functions like you would have at private hospitals with the Pink Ladies, of which my wife is one. So proud of her. She's there today. Probably sitting in the surgery waiting room. They're the information people. You walk up there and you ask for a room number and they'll tell you what room they're in, or they'll direct you to locations around the facility. Well, she works in the surgery waiting, helping families get information from doctors about the status of their loved one going through surgery. So she's there today, right now, and listening to us on the app, as everybody should do. Everybody needs to listen on the app.
Everybody. Well, congrats to them. And coming up next, Fauci. Nathan wants to talk about it.
And now I wonder if I could fall into the sky.
Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show, is now everywhere you are. Talkback is now streaming live on X at Sedla Update, plus Facebook and YouTube at KSYL.
Attention all real estate agents, property owners, and lenders. When you or a client needs a real estate attorney, call the professionals at Thompson Law Firm. Whether the legal matter is basic or complex, the Thompson Law Firm can accurately guide you or your client to a successful outcome. That's why numerous industry professionals have trusted the Thompson Law Firm for years. They also handle estate planning, successions, and business law. Call them at 473-0052. I am a paid non-client attorney spokesperson.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talkline at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talkback.
That's what everyone was expecting for the Fauci hearing yesterday. The standoff. And all you got was, I plead the fifth.
Somebody sent me this hilarious reel. There's some actor or singer or something. I don't know who he is. I'm going to show it to you so you can tell me if you recognize this guy.
Snoop Dogg. Oh, that's Dave Chappelle, looks like.
Is it Dave Chappelle? So that's the wrong
That's
button.
not Dave Chappelle.
That was wrong button. Sorry, y'all. But they superimposed one of his comedic clips between the two Fauci lawyers. And he's like, I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. Every question I plead. He holds up a piece of paper that has FIF on it. And they said that's what people got yesterday. So Anthony Fauci over 100 times pleading the fifth, including when asked what color the carpet was in front of him or if there was a folder in front of him. Senator Hawley, Senator Paul, both pretty strong in their comments about, dislike for his approach and his handling of things. And really what surprised me, not only were those folks, you expected that kind of behavior, but Senator John Fetterman from Pennsylvania admitted to Dr. Fauci he regretted believing Fauci's lies, saying the conservatives were actually right. And probably the more breaking news about it was Fetterman showed up wearing a suit and tie. John Fetterman, who typically wears jogging pants and that kind of stuff, but there he was, suit and tie, and he says, I have a regret, and that is the theory that the virus could have emerged from the lab, and early on that became a right-wing kind of theory. I thought it seemed to make sense. Now there was a really advanced lab that was close by. Then you have this unknown virus out. That became a very partisan thing, and now it seems it's more and more emerging theory that would have come from that lab. And he went on to say, I regret believing you. So
why do you write in a diary controversial stuff?
Because you think
stop doing that.
You think nobody's going to read it. Do you keep a diary?
No. Should I?
Well, if you're famous and one day people want to know the intimate secrets and the motivations and if you're going to write a diary, do you lie and make yourself sound better?
It's a liary.
It's a liary. I have attempted over the years to keep diary and journals, and I have been successful at times, and I'm grateful because when I go back and read those, I'm like, I forgot that, and then I wish I'd done it more.
July 30th, 8:26 in the morning, I pressed the phone button. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Well, you know what I don't understand about all this? Nobody's ever asked this question. Fauci's a millionaire many times over.
Yep.
You know that?
Yeah, that was brought out by Fetterman. by Josh Hawley.
He's very intelligent. He's got thousands of people working for him. He's been in that job for like 35 years at the time or 40 years at the time. What's in it for him to make all this stuff up?
Well, according to his diary, he liked the press. He thought he was more popular than Trump and movie stars. And that seems to be...
I know, I saw that.
But you ask what would make him do this.
Yeah, but did that make him do it? I think what it is, I think usually when countries get themselves in debt, they start wars and kill millions of people to keep the economy going. Do you know that? That's what World War II was about. And so I think the whole thing was just a cover for the government to print trillions of dollars and push it into the economy.
So let me ask this. where do you think the origins of the virus came from? Did America originate it or did China originate it?
I don't know. Maybe they got it from Amazon. What does that even matter?
Well, it does matter because you say the motivation for these things is financial practice.
I know, but the government works on these viruses all the time. And so I just don't see that. I think that's just going off in left field. This is about printing money and pushing it into the economy. And there's something else.
Haven't we been doing that before the virus?
Not trillions of dollars. How many trillions? $8 trillion is pushed into the economy. The thing is, if you tell everybody, okay, we're going to print all this money and push it into the economy, the whole thing's going to come down around your ears because, people aren't going to trust the money anymore. And so I just think that's what of course, I could absolutely be wrong, but I think that's what the whole thing was about. And I think we're going to see much worse than that coming soon.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Pride and fame make people do a lot of dumb things all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We see it in the book of Genesis, too. All right. Give us a call, 318-442-8255, if you want to give your opinions on things and let your voice be heard. I had something I was going to say, but I just forgot it.
I had a listener text and ask, because I was mentioning Rapides Regional, and they said that it used to be called Baptist Hospital, and the question was, why did it change names? And so I recall when it changed from Baptist Hospital to Rapides General Hospital. And so I went back and looked. The Louisiana Baptist Convention had bought it in 1917, before it was called the Alexander Sanatorium. Baptist Convention bought it in 1917. They operated it for 53 years, and then they released it so it could function as an independent, not-for-profit community hospital to allow the institution to focus on its governance and resources rather than under a statewide religious organization. And so that's when it changed to Rapides General Hospital. And then in the early 80s, it became Rapides Regional Medical Center, I think reflecting the service to the community. And then the joint venture with Columbia HCA happened in the 1990s. So that gives a little perspective on that.
Back to the BOM Bank Talkline, 318-442-8255. Good morning. You are on.
Good morning. Don't a lot of people just do things for power?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of fits in with that fame and greed, but power or pride.
Isn't there a whole political party that just wants to tell you what to do? Just to be able to tell you what to do?
That's certainly a motivation for many. I mean, that's why Stephen wants to be monarchy in America, because he wants to be king.
I mean, if we just get rid of everything, we wouldn't have to worry about voting systems and the money we spend on it.
And I'm not making light of your point, caller. You're absolutely right. That can be a strong motivation for people.
I'm just wondering which job Stephen's going to have under that monarchy.
Probably jester.
I thought you were going to be king.
Thank you.
You remember the Lion King song, I Just Want to Be King, or I Can't Wait to Be King, or
I Just Can't Wait to Be King.
Yeah. So that should be your theme song when you do your next story on Cinema Updates. I just can't wait to be king.
My motivation in life wouldn't be to king. I just want to be left alone.
Get off my lawn.
Hopefully the king leaves me alone, but we know they don't do that either.
No, it doesn't work that well.
All right. More coming up here on Talkback. Give us a call, 318-442-8255. That's coming up. More calls.
Can't read to your heart.
This is Nathan's favorite song, by the way.
That I want it that way.
Taking part of the show is easy. Call the BOM Bank Talkline at 442-8255.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. On Wall Street, stocks are bouncing back today a bit after yesterday's rout. A lot of positivity surrounding Microsoft and its cloud unit. It grew at the fastest clip in 4 years, suggesting solid prospects for its AI and computing services. Disney, meantime, revamping its streaming services to jumpstart subscriber growth, with the focus on thinking of Disney Plus as a front door for the company's fans worldwide. Turns out the World Cup was only half full for some. Adidas, as they say, quarterly profit lower on increasing marketing spending, even though its sold a lot of jerseys and balls. And Anheuser-Busch InBev sponsorship boosted demand for Michelob Ultra, but not enough to offset weak volumes in the China area. Starbucks and Chipotle have tweaked their menus and rewards to win over diners, and it's working, with Starbucks chicken wraps and iced fruit drinks apparently an especially big hit. And Chili's launching a new retro design, reaching for nostalgia. Denise Pellegrini, Bloomberg Radio.
The Louisiana heat is here. Is your home ready? Whether it's keeping your air conditioner running strong, fixing unexpected plumbing problems, or installing a whole home generator before the next storm rolls in, Southern Air has you covered. With trusted technicians, upfront pricing, and service that you can count on, we're here to keep your family comfortable all summer long. Don't sweat it. Call Southern Air Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing today, or schedule online at southernairalexandria.com.
Got a big day ahead of you? Then it's best to fuel up with some of Sinlaw's best at Ricotto's Restaurant. Walk right in and just smell that home-style cooking. Place your order. Take the breakfast right till 9:30 this morning. Get fresh biscuits, eggs any way you like them. Melt in your mouth pancakes, grits, hash browns, sausage, bacon, even wraps and sandwiches. And don't forget their fresh brewed coffee. Ricotto's Restaurant, 28 West, right across from the Coliseum. Your breakfast is waiting for you.
Good morning. Starting out with partly cloudy skies today, but we'll see things getting cloudier as the day goes on. Well, got the possibility of an afternoon shower, thunderstorm, about a 20 to 30% chance of that. Heat advisory again in effect today, with afternoon high temperatures near 95 degrees. And that heat index near 110 this afternoon. Looks like more of the same in store for us on Friday. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Grayson.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talkback.
Welcome back. We got the phones lit up like Christmas Eve. 318-442-8255. Give us a call. Let's go to one. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
You guys doing all right today?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it sounds like you got them running. You got them running wild. But anyway, hey, listen, has there been any talk about trying to regulate these electric scooters and bikes and what have you?
Oh, man. Don't get me started. There needs to be. And I talked to someone in law enforcement, and they told me that as long as their mechanism was below a certain horsepower or whatever, they're considered bicycles. But they're supposed to follow the law, and you and I know they do not.
No, not at all.
Somebody's going to get killed. It's going to happen.
I think New Orleans said they had 4 or 5 deaths this year. You can check that. I'm not sure, but I think I heard that on the news. But, again, I'm old. But I was talking to one of my friends. I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe we used to have our bicycles. It didn't have a license plate like you think of, but it had that wasn't here now. This was up in Iowa. But it had something that attached around underneath the handlebar that I believe had a number. And I stand to be corrected on that, but it kind of sticks in my mind. And one of my friends said that they thought they remembered that too. But one time I was at one of the convenience stores over there at Wilmore's. A guy came on one of those. And so I said, do you have to have that registered or anything, any insurance? He said, no. And I said, well, what's going to happen if I hit you? And you know what he told me? I'm going to own you. Right?
Oh, my goodness.
But I mean, with the attorneys like they are today, he probably would. And I've seen him go down Texas in the turn lane in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, well, next of all, we're not going to do anything until somebody gets killed. And that's
right.
A shame.
That's right.
And it should be up to the cities to get together and say, this is the regulation. You got to have it registered. I'm sure they all have serial numbers. Don't you think?
You would think, but I don't know that there's literally any. Now, Louisiana state law does give municipal governments the power to adopt ordinances about registration and licensing of bicycles. And that may be something that really needs to be looked into. There's no statewide mandate, but revised statute 3241 gives municipalities the power to adopt ordinances requiring registration and licensing. And so that might be something that would curb some of this. I'll tell you what also needs to happen. We all need to buy dash cams. We need to have them in our cars because that's the only way you can protect yourself against a fraudulent claim.
Well, the point is like the other day I was watching, and there was a guy weaving in and out, going over the cross, from one side of the highway to the other, and he was weaving in and out of traffic. Okay, so maybe he's not the problem, but guess what the person that's trying to get out of his way does?
Mm-hmm.
Runs into somebody else.
Right.
And so anyway, but like I said, again, this is an opinion show, and more than likely nothing's going to happen until somebody gets killed. But it might be something somebody might want to look into. So anyway, have a blessed day. And Stephen, I'm going to get that information to you about that other thing.
Okay. Sounds good, sir.
All right.
Thank
Later.
you.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right. To another call, 318-442-8255. Good morning. You're on.
Hey, Nathan, I graduated nursing school in 1975.
Yes, sir.
And it was still Baptist Hospital. And the director of nurses at that time, she wouldn't hire male nurses. She thought they were all queer and drug abusers.
Sorry. I didn't mean to laugh, but I can see how that stereotype, could have played out against you, because you're neither of those. Yeah, you're not any of that category, so I can see how that stereotype would work against you.
Yeah, but I did have some problems when I was in nursing school. They'd give me an assignment. It'd be some old man, and a little while later, the instructor would come and tell me, "I'm gonna have to change your assignment." And the old guy didn't want me, And then it even happened after I worked. I don't know. I was comfortable in my own skin. I mean, I didn't let it worry me. I didn't let it bother me. But I had some problem. I had one old grouchy surgeon. He looked at me up and down like I was something he'd stepped in on the way to the hospital. I don't think men ought to be nurses. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, doctor, but I'm not going to quit just because you don't like it. And that day, he didn't like that, me telling him that. But anyway.
So tell me, what year did you start? You said you graduated nursing school in 73?
75. I graduated in 75.
So according to the historical marker, which I'm looking at right now out in front of the hospital, it says they changed their name in 1971 to Rapides General Hospital. But it may have just been more colloquially known. It was known as Baptist Hospital for another 10 to 20 years, just in conversation. In fact, I had another texter just now, another listener text me that, their family was Catholic in the 60s or 70s when their grandmother had to be taken to the hospital, and they took her to Rapides/Baptist. The rest of the Catholic family was mad that they didn't go to Cabrini, because it carried that Baptist Hospital association for many, many years.
Yeah, I always knew it as Baptist Hospital back in those days.
Yeah. Well, that's it's like the Gulf of America or Gulf of Mexico. It's going to take a long time for folks to settle on the new name.
Stephen, when does your wife graduate?
December. She has her last final of the summer semester tomorrow, so she's getting excited. I think she's rooting for. She's at Cabrini right now, working as an extern.
I was thinking about that new facility they're building out at the air park, for the families. Mm-hmm. I bet they would love to get her as a nurse there.
That's what I told her.
Just
especially with her
Spanish speaker.
Yeah. Told her she'd be hired on the spot.
Yeah, I bet they would love to have her there. And she could be an inspiration, too, to those people. She could, she did it the right way, and she could explain, because they're self-supporting. They will allow them to apply for citizens, to return and become citizens and all that. And she could tell them, she could be a living example. I did it, the right way.
We actually had that conversation a couple days ago. It's funny you bring that up. Yeah. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Hey.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. We got a bajillion calls, so stick around. Maybe you should call us, maybe. That's coming up next.
And this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me maybe.
Taking part in the show is easy. Call the BOM Bank Talkline at 442-8255.
Remember when eating corn right off the cob was one of your favorite summertime treats? Or how about taking a big bite out of a crisp, fresh apple? If it's been a while since you enjoyed these delightful activities, chances are your teeth are no longer up for the task. But now there's great news. The folks over at Today's Dental in Pineville are Cenla's dental implant experts. They're both highly trained and experienced in the procedure. Now with thousands of completely satisfied, delighted patients. They make dental implant surgery simple by using today's most current technologies. Along with in-office IV sedation administered by a highly skilled certified nurse anesthetist, you'll be in and out before you know it, without all the anxiety. Plus, at Today's Dental, their multiple finance options make the entire procedure truly affordable. Go back to crunching all your favorite foods. Give Today's Dental a call at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Goche. That's 448-4540.
When you're going through something, you want to be heard, respected, and helped. Louisiana 988 is here to provide that, offering 24/7 emergency emotional support. Specialists will genuinely listen, treat you with dignity, and help you find the resources you need. It's free, confidential, and most people who reach out report feeling better right in the moment. Call or text 988 anytime.
.970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talkback.
All right, good morning. Welcome back to Talkback. It is 8:43 here on July 30th, Thursday morning. We are just taking phone calls like they're free, which they are. Good morning. You're on the BOM Bank Talkline, 318-442-8255. What's going on?
Oh, hi, this is Mark.
Hey, Mark, how's it going, man?
I'm good. How are you doing, Nathan?
I'm well, sir. Hey, how's Natchitoches Parish doing?
Natchitoches is well. Thank you, sir. I'm headed to New Orleans today to see my daughters, so it's a good day.
Oh, that's a good day when you get to travel to see kinfolks. You're kind of a kinfolk. You and I share we share cousins.
Right. We're related through marriage.
That's right.
Exactly.
Mark Carey on the line with us, folks, is I'm not sure what your new title is up in Natchitoches Parish. You used to be a police juryman, but you have a different title now. What is it?
Well, it's a council. They have a home rule charter. It's a council.
Parish council?
I'm a councilman for District 5, the southern part of the parish.
All right.
Yeah. Hey, Nathan, I wanted to talk about Dr. Fauci.
Uh-oh.
And let me preface anything I say. If you ask a question and I cannot answer, I'm going to say I plead the fifth.
Mark, I respect your opinion very highly, and I know you have access to things that most of us don't get to see. So I am waiting we've said our third time in the show today with bated breath to hear what you've got to say.
Okay. Well, just hearkening back to when I did work at Homeland Security. So I was working there in D.C. when the virus was ongoing. And I mean, we met with some of those HHS folks, and we kind of had this conversation like, I don't understand what's going on here. But when I look at the history of the Spanish influenza and how many people it killed, it was a virulent strain. But I mean, the mortality rate was way above what was COVID-19 was occurring. And then we looked at the different groups of people, the categories and the ages, and how they had different mortality rates. And we said, hey, look, why can't you just create a simple little chart that shows comorbidity, risk factors, age, and just say, hey, yes or no, a binary choice, whether or not you should take the jab. And so anyway, it was crazy how they did not do a good job of educating. And the perfect example of why they didn't educate. For example, when I was at Homeland Security, I worked on foot and mouth disease. That's an example. I was looking at that. That's an example of a disease. That's an animal disease, but still, it has an incubation period that's long, and it runs a long course before it totally, it doesn't kill the cattle, but it makes them so debilitated, you literally have to kill them. And so it takes a long time, and then it's a high infectious rate. I mean, it could travel 50 miles, so you could live 3 weeks in a pile of feed that's been put there by another cow. And so another example is smallpox, where it could kill 30% of the population, up to a third of the population, and it runs its course over a long period. A lot of people get infected. Well, this COVID-19 just didn't have those symptoms, and we never understood why Fauci and them never really got in front of it and explained it all. And another thing, I met with my physician, and he was showing me books on the shelf that Fauci had authored. So he was a well-respected doctor, and so I had to ask myself, why why did he veer off into this political muck about this thing? I don't know if he just loved the stardom and loved the love by the liberals, or loved the relationship he had with the press, because I just think he somehow got corrupted by all this, because I think he probably was a good doctor at one time. Your thoughts?
Well, you tapped into what a previous caller said about power. And there's an old saying, power corrupts, and absolute power is kind of fun. Okay, I know I tweaked that saying, but there is a huge draw to become important. And I don't know if that was the motivation or not, but you are saying similar to what a previous caller commented may have been the motivation. He certainly has lost, in many people's eyes, whatever credibility he may have had before that.
Yeah, well, Nathan, you said something earlier that was right on target. I mean, you said it eroded the credibility and the faith that we have in these institutions.
Right.
Well, you can add that to the list, because the others have been eroded also.
Right.
Congress, Senate, House of Representatives, the Supreme Court now by many, the news media. About the only place that has not severely eroded has been the U.S. military, and then it has in some areas, but not nearly as much as other institutions. So we find ourselves, especially in a society that is less believers, biblical believers, they find themselves unmoored to things that they can count on and trust, and it causes the spiraling of the society, especially with the lack of civics education.
Those are all spot-on comments. Mark, we need to get you back on soon, because I know you're also very instrumental in the Louisiana Maneuvers Museum initiative. I know you've come on once to talk about it. We're up against a break here in a second, so I don't want to dive into that, but I want folks to know what you're doing. Can you give us a 30-second snapshot of that?
Sure. Had a sort of a kickoff meeting with LSUA to see if they would do the feasibility study. But after speaking with them, Dr. Beard and her staff realized it's a big undertaking. It's going to take a lot of money, that we're going to need to raise some money to do this thing. So we're now reaching out to mostly private organizations, large ones that could possibly put up $500,000 to the feasibility study. And then we could, of course, the feasibility study determine where we'll put it and what it would look like, what's the scope and everything.
Very good. Well, that's an effort we're following very closely and want you to keep us updated on that progress. So Parish Councilman Mark Carey, formerly with the secret side of military. I don't even know what all you did. I know you did a lot of crazy, wild things over in the Middle East, and glad to have you back home, and go hug on those girls.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for calling, Mark.
All right, we got to take a break. Your phone calls coming up after the break, 318-442-8255. You are listening to Talkback.
Beneath the light of a neon moon. Now, if you lose your one and only.
Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show, is now everywhere you are. Talkback is now streaming live on X at Sedla Update, plus Facebook and YouTube at KSYL.
In Central Louisiana, when you're talking great food, you're talking Southern Creations Country Lunch Buffet. At the base of the Jackson Street Bridge in Pineville, this Best of the Best award-winning lunch buffet is remarkable, featuring their signature fried chicken every day, an awesome variety of menu choices, and homemade desserts, including the now famous white chocolate bread pudding. No one does lunch better. Come have lunch with a friend or a group at Southern Creations. Daily menus posted on Facebook.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just one dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talkback.
We're back, better than ever, 8:52 in the morning. Let's go to the BOM Bank Talkline. Good morning, you are on Talkback. Wait, go now. Sorry, say that again.
Yeah, you cannot be the court jester. I've already applied for that position. Just want to let you know.
We'll see what the king has to say.
Well, you're not a monarchist. You say your goal is to be left alone. That makes you a libertarian.
No.
Like myself and Thomas Jefferson, who said, that which does not pick my pocket nor break my leg is none of my concern.
But I want to be left alone, but have the king so I can have something to complain about.
Well, you can complain about Nathan.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine.
Oh, I do. Trust me.
Trust me.
So on Dr. Fallacy. Dr. Fallacy has a long history of messing things up. If you will research the beginning of the AIDS crisis, he was the one that said that AZT was the only treatment and that all other treatments were outlawed. He also came up with the idea of isolating the patients. He also was the one who wanted to destroy the blood supply without an accurate test before doing it, which led to a blood shortage. So Dr. Fallacy has been a problem forever. I'm just going to have to disagree with that previous caller that said that he published books and that equals respectability. Just because you publish a book does not guarantee respectability. They've published fiction every day. Dr. Fallacy has been a problem for 40 years. Nobody just wanted to do anything about it because he was a bureaucrat. And the actual job of a bureaucrat is to protect the bureaucracy. That's why Dr. Fallacy was able to hang on so long. And I respect his record. I think anybody that gets in the Guinness Book of World Record for anything, even for pleading the fifth, deserves our respect.
I love the context. To the point. Well, is there a record for pleading the fifth? Or are you just making that up?
Yeah. No. I thought I watched it for a little while yesterday and then turned it off and did some work on the computer, which I absolutely despise. But then I turned it back on and he was still pleading the fifth. So I Googled it and ChatGPT'd it and some other sources to find out if there was a record. And all the sources claim that yesterday he set the record for pleading the fifth before a senatorial committee. So I congratulate the good doctor. I think that's an accomplishment worthy of respect.
111 times a new world record. I don't know who would want to break that one.
So it's a challenge. You have to train for it. He had notes. The only thing, he did have to look at that note card a number of times. And I would have thought after the first 50 times of reading it, he wouldn't have to refer to his notes. But he did.
That's funny you say that. I honestly wondered to myself yesterday, at what point was he able to give the statement verbatim without looking at his card? I actually thought that. So, yeah, good observation.
Well, it's even in this, at the point in the COVID deal, pandemic, or as I call it, the faux-demic, he couldn't decide if masks were good or if masks were bad. And if you remember Deborah Brex, I think his name, I always get her name wrong. I think it was Deborah Brex. His assistant said that you should wear goggles and possibly earplugs if you go out in public. So, all these people, which I'm still mad about it. I'm still kind of salty about it. I mean, the idea that a virus knows the difference between 5'11" and 6 foot, that was made up.
I did chuckle over the people driving by themselves in a car wearing a mask. I always thought that was humorous. protecting themselves from themselves, I guess.
Well, I called into a host on this station that shall remain nameless, but he was talking about the vaccine. And I made the point is like, a vaccine that does not inoculate you is not a vaccine. And that host retorted, well, I think that's not the type of vaccine Dr. Fallacy is talking about. There's only one type of vaccine. If it doesn't inoculate you, it's not a vaccine. So this whole thing is a lie.
Well, I do want to comment, though. I do know people who have been severely affected with long-term implications of it. But it obviously has, even though that has happened, some people have astutely made the comment that astoundingly the flu rate dropped to almost nothing while the COVID rate was being monitored. And a lot of people who know me on Facebook know that there for about 4 or 5 months, I was tracking the daily infection numbers nationwide and across Louisiana, and it never even came close to like 10% of what the projections were. And I've got the spreadsheets, the historical spreadsheets that show that. However, there were some people that even to this day have long COVID, their lungs are Swiss cheese. It did have an impact. I don't want to deny that it had a negative impact on a lot of people. It just didn't rise to the hysteria level that was being placed across the nation.
All diseases have an impact. You know anybody that's impacted from diabetes?
Of course.
Or heart disease, or lung cancer, or smallpox, or chickenpox, or the shingles? All diseases have an impact. But you ever read when Paul wrote to Timothy about fear?
He
said, yep, you could probably quote it. I believe it's in 2 Timothy about God has not given us a spirit of fear.
That's right.
Yeah, okay, so all due respect, but those of us who fell for the fear-mongering of this and wore masks and got the vaccine and rode around their car with masks and stood 6 feet away from everybody, kept their kids out of school. They were listening to liars who instilled a spirit of fear in their lives.
Hey, music's playing, but hey, check your email. I got to send you something, so don't forget.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right, that's it for us here on Talkback. It'll be Nathan, Al, and a secret guest tomorrow, so stay tuned. That'll be your tease for 24 hours. Actually, 22 hours. Have a good one.
You've been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenla Broadcasting. AM 970, FM 104.9, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3 HD3, Alexandria.